Okay, good evening, everybody. How are we doing today? We're gonna have to make that a bit bigger. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. It's been a pretty good day overall. I'd like it if I could zoom in. That should be pretty readable, right? Thought I'd do something a little different today, just because I'm in the mood for it. So I've been complaining during this process about the fact that the new input system in Dome is very slightly clunkier than I expected it to be. So I wanted to try and fix that real quick on stream, just to show how the way that I develop it, I guess. Thought that could be fun. Shouldn't take me very long, so we'll probably do some other stuff as well, but it's one of those small things that I'm doing a lot at the moment, or I have been, and it's bugging me enough that I want to fix it straight away. So, need my arms. So, I'm in the Dome repository on my machine at the moment, and what I want to do is go and look at the let me explain the problem. Actually, I'll back up a little bit and explain the problem. So at the moment, everywhere that I've had to do like handling of button clicks has been a little bit sticky because I keep having this construction here. Input source of a type is down and it's just repeating at 0. And what this means is that is the button down and has it gone down this frame? And if it has, it was just pushed do a thing. This is meant to prevent doing the same thing repeatedly because the button is being held down 60 times a second. The problem is, I've been doing this a lot. Here, and here, and here. And it is just inconvenient enough to have to type this up twice that I want to fix it. So I thought I'd show off just sort of the general approach I take while working on something for Dome. So the way that I do that is I go into the repo and I find, so I've got this, everything's in the source folder, and then look at it this way. So the source is broken up like this. There's core engine stuff, is all this stuff. And then all the module code is in modules. And the way that that is done is it is the C backend and the Ren frontend, and then auto-generated inclusive files for adding into the actual engine compilation. So I ignore the .incs, ignore those. But in this case, we want input. Input, and I always start in the Ren file. So, oh, I've got the machinery to do that. Thank you so much, Moore's Last Kids. It's that the machinery to have that feature is already there. It's just not syntactically available. Because what happens is that it's tracking whether it's down and how many repeats it's got. It just doesn't have that nice API that combines the two to say, was this just pressed? So that's why you're doing it manually right now. So I just want to add that in real quick and then we're good to go. So the way that the input stuff is all set up is that there is this digital input idea, which is applied across all the kinds of input. You've got your mouse, your keyboard, and your controller buttons all use the same object to store and cache this data. And this gets updated whenever there's a button event. So it says update the state, do the commit at the end of the phase of stuff, because you could have multiple events happen, track the number of repeats, and then during the frame when you're doing your stuff, you call these three. So you can get the current state, the previous state, the number of repeats. Which is really helpful if you want to know how long a button was held for, which is really annoying to track otherwise. It's just not useful on its own. Well, it's just, that's not what I say. It's not useful if the only thing you really want to do is check, was I just pressed? So usually how I implement this sort of thing is I think about the way that I want to use this. So say I'm in some code and I want to do like button, then I probably want to like that maybe, I guess would be how it would end up looking. So I try and mock up nearby just what the API usage would look like for whatever I'm adding to the to Dome, and I always start with this when I do stuff. Almost always when it's something that's going to be developer user facing, I always start from here. So is that what I want? Or I guess the problem is I'm using down here. So is it really just down? But then that doesn't sound right because it's yeah. And as most people familiar with this quote know, one of the hard problems of computer science is naming things. So it can take a few tries to get to where I think this should be. Because the thing is that I'm going to be doing this a lot, and everyone will probably be doing this a lot. So you kind of want to get it as close to right first time as you can. Yeah, and that's one of those things. I try to name stuff in ways that make sense the first time you read it, so that you don't have to guess too much. Obviously, that's going to be very difficult for some things because they're just going to be too complicated, and for everything else there's documentation. But I try my best to start from somewhere that's pretty available. I like the idea of it being trigger, although because like the really verbose version of this would be has just been pressed, but that's obviously too cumbersome for anybody to want to use. So was pressed. I still think just keyboard left was just pressed. And that's how I would say it out loud. This button was just pressed, so do the thing. That sounds right? Yeah, I think that we'll start with that. So, what we do then is we go just pressed over here, and we say down, and repeats equals 0. And now I don't have to do anything else, and I am using this elsewhere. Because then I know that on this particular frame, this went down, it's not repeated, so I can just use that over and over. I wanted to do something else real quick because it's been sort of bugging me for a little while now, which is that the naming across the keyboard and the mouse and the controller for... So let me back up a little bit. When I first wrote Dome, it had the keyboard. And the keyboard had one method, and that was is key down, because that's all I needed. Keyboard dot is the key down, here's the key. As I've expanded this API now to include the whole digital input bit above, I've added in all the extra stuff. So you can kind of access it in both ways. If you need the more detailed input data, you can use the more detailed one. But this is just syntactic sugar over the top. The problem is that this is available, or the same idea applies to how the mouse worked. But it's got a different name. It's is button pressed, not is key pressed. And then the controller of the gamepad has got another one somewhere, is button pressed. And so every time that I use the keyboard now, I think is button pressed and then it not be there. So I just want to put a quick little syntactical thing in. Is key down, just to be like static is button pressed, key is key down. Just do that, just call it again so that I can use it in the same place, in the same way, and it be consistent, because consistency is important. Yeah, so the core components for Dome are relying on SDL, but that wasn't the original design. The idea was to use it just to get started and then implement things backwards down to the core functions, sort of, but then I'd sort of decided that I was entrenched at that point, and SDL is actually prevalent enough that I'm kind of okay relying on it. Yeah, there's a lot about quality of life that I care about here. So, and it's these little irks and things that I watch out for when I'm working with Dome, so that I know what to change and what is right to change. The fact that I've been doing this repeatedly tells me that it needs to be in the core, basically. I try not to do anything extraneous. So that fortunately, this is a very light change. I just have to change I only have to change the ren side of the API. I don't have to dig into the C files at all. Most modules have got both halves. They do a C module and a ren module, and they smush together. But that's all we need to do here. So now that I've done that, I can build. So during the build, it's going to take all the ren files in that modules folder and turn them into C strings and import them using a ridiculous script I've put together. And that gets all auto-included back in the engine. This is actually taking a lot longer than normal. I'm not sure what's going on. But it runs, it builds. I have a very delicate setup here that builds it statically. So what I'm doing here, I'm building it, but I'm not going to release it right now. I just want to have it available for me for development. And then when I release this game, that'll be the version of Dome that goes out with it, but it won't be the publicly available one. Yeah, the problem is that for me to do a full RC live would be quite painful, because I would have to boot up VirtualBox, and I'm not sure how OBS and VirtualBox will play together, because I have to sideload into other things to do the compilation, which is a mess. Very important thing though. I am not allowed to merge this directly onto this branch until I write documentation. This is a I'm going to just do a quick branch off here. Input. So the way that I work on Dome is very strict in that I do not at all land a feature if there is no documentation for it. So I have to go into the docs, modules, input, and I have to go and add the thing. I'm pretty terrible in my day job at doing tests and documentation for stuff, but for this it is really important because I'm making it for other people to use. So here's button pressed like that. And then down. Because then we have, what did I call it? Just pressed. So static just pressed boolean turns true if the input was pressed on this tick. Oh, thank you. I put a fair bit of work into making the website readable and stylish in equal measure. I wanted to make it easy to work with and easy to use so that anyone could pick up the documentation and find what they needed to find fairly easily. I think that's everything. Added digital input dot just pressed and documentation with keyboard QL. I like to make a PI even though I'm the only one actually reviewing the code. The problem with working on a project on your own, generally, is that you're too close to it. You don't actually see mistakes happen. So most of the time, what I do is that I will implement something, set up a pull request, and then leave it for a day or two, and then go back and review it myself. And I tend to be cautious doing that final merge just so that I can catch more mistakes. And occasionally I do catch a few. There's always going to be something, but it is what it is. And it documents the it documents changes and it makes the repo look active, which is important to me as well. Just in case someone is looking at it and being like, oh, maybe we should use this. Oh, there's no one working on it, never mind. Sort of thing. And you never know. If someone wants to contribute a pull request, they're obviously welcome to as well. It has happened. Create a PL. Sorry, I'm just doing sort of the bureaucratic part of the job. Oh, that's because that's going to the wrong branch. I want that on there. Because this is an RC rather than a full release, I've not merged into master yet. So I need to point it at the right branch. But it means that I can now come in here and have a look at what actually got changed, and I can be a bit haphazard. So it's good to double check I didn't do something really stupid. But that looks fine. I'm going to leave that just there for a bit. I've got it locally, so I can work with it. I'm just going to leave that up for a bit. And let's go and test it by using it. So I wish I had some cool Vim way of doing this, but I don't. But I think that already that makes the whole thing much nicer to look at, doesn't it? Because suddenly, I mean, there's different things here, but so it wouldn't be too appropriate because I've broken it up here, but that's fine. Okay, let's see if that broke stuff. Looks good. That all seems to work correctly. Good stuff. All right. Let's go backport that through to everywhere else in this engine. Pog. I've got this like helper library as well for doing. Let me just talk through this. Yeah, so I have this helper library here, which allows you to take multiple digital input objects and combine them into a single input, which is, I hope, something that can be used for doing button remapping later on in life. Yeah. Okay. I see. Fair enough. Yeah. Hooray, indeed. Hooray. I am not particularly memey about things. It's a preference, I guess. I like to say what I think rather than relying on the image is 1,000 words type idea or whatever. Don't know. I think that's all that's gonna happen. Maybe in here. Nope. Thanks. I think most of us are valid, really. So yeah, I can do it here. It's yeah. I'm glad that you're sort of sticking around to have a look. It's I'm not too versed with the origins of the language myself. It does take certain cues from Lua, but I think it's meant to be based on Erlang and Smalltalk, which I've got no knowledge of at all. But it's close enough to a C-based language that I can work with it, and it has sensible defaults, unlike Lua, so I'm happy using it. Oh. Hey! Somebody joined my Discord. Fantastic. I have all notifications on for the Discord so that I can catch stuff. Indenting. So this should affect all the buttons because I'm using button click stuff. That seems fine there. Cool, cool. Good. Good status. See, for game projects, I don't care about having a master branch unless I really need to check that it didn't break something. Convert to just first. So much better. Oh, proud of that. So yeah, that is a breezy run through the life cycle I go through for developing something to add to Ren from an API perspective. API first, then implementation. And where possible, I try and stick to that API. Very occasionally, the implementation will change the way that it works, but you can get away with quite a lot by starting from that point of view. Usage first, which I have Handmade Hero to blame, I guess. Right. Now that we've finished with all that fun, what do I want to get up next? So technically, I don't actually need any of this stuff to finish this game. It's all gravy, I guess. So what we want instead, let's do some move counting real quick, because that should be pretty simple. Over in the model, we'll have score, for lack of a better word, I guess. Move count could be better. Player move count. All right. So then we say if actor is equal to player. I think I actually have a better way of figuring that out, but I'm not going to deal with that yet. Then player move count is equal to player move count plus 1. I am looking forward to having compound operators here, because this is one of those things that people don't like to do anymore. It's a bit verbose. And then I can expose that in the view. just by going I'm fairly active on Discord, but I'm not good with the marketing stuff. People get alerted in my server when I go live, but I've otherwise left it pretty separate. Count, and I want to do canvas top width minus 8 multiplied by 5, 6. Let's do that and see how we go. I don't feel like I'm fairly active, but I don't think I'm prominent enough that people would actually wanna find and watch what I'm up to, because it's quite niche. So, oh, I did the thing again. I mixed up my X and Y axes. Hold up. Did that last stream as well. Okay. Yeah, because now I've got this up here. That should increase by 1. That should increase by 1. Those should be invalid moves. Crashing into the wall should be 1 move, and 6, and 7, and 8. Picked a good purple for this background, didn't I? Cool. That probably needs some sort of background overlay. No, it's I explained this in a previous stream. I didn't really know what to call it. It does keep a separation between the game model and the view, so I guess it is an MVC. But it's really, the view is a view controller. It's doing a lot of the puppeteering, I suppose. Let me just get back into the code here. So what I'm making for your benefit there is a turn-based racing game where you are driving like a hover vehicle, like in Wipeout or something, around a track. But it's top-down and turn-based, and you control your speed, and how fast you're going dictates which squares you can move into. Just a moment, and I will show it off properly. Stop width. And 20. I think that's pretty reasonable. Oh. Yeah, I thought so when I stumbled on the idea. So here's the map. The map is broken up into hexes. This is you, and here are your available movement options. At the moment, you have a speed of 0. You're not moving. Once you move, it changes where you can go. Because you have momentum, you can either go here, staying at the same speed, because you move 1 square, so you'd move 1 square, or you can increase your speed and go 2. So if I just move 1, nothing changes. But if I go 2, then you'll see that now, to stay at the same speed as this, but to increase again, I have to go up here, or I could slow down and go to here. If I increase it again, I now can't select the spaces directly next to me because I'm going too fast. But you can increase it again. But at this point, because I'm moving so fast, well, or I'm moving at a speed. If I try and turn, staying at that speed, it takes longer to get around this corner. So I'm going to slow down. And I crashed because I couldn't steer fast enough. So the hope is that you have to think carefully about how you move in order to get through the track without crashing too much. Because when you crash, your entire speed comes down to 0. I think that I've technically left some debug stuff in the game, so you can always move like that at the moment, but I'm going to take that out. And my hope is at some point that you'd be able to get an AI set of enemy races in here and other things, but it's looking like I'm probably not going to have time to put that in, so it's going to be like a time trial game right now. How quickly can you get round the track with as few crashes as possible? So if we're going to count the crashes as well, I should put that in. Yeah, I thought so. When I started, I had a whole grand vision of the things you could do with it, and then, as it does, time conspired against me, and I didn't really get a chance to do much of it at all. So what I want here is to respond to events that were generated. In the result, so for event in result events. And the event is player move event. Then I can do that. Else if event is a crash event, then I'm going to need that one. Crash event, crash count is 2. Crash count plus 1. So the idea here is that when you make a move of any kind, the actions you take generate events which are stored on the game result and are then passed out to the game view. But the model can also interpret those events, which is what we're doing here. So we're basically going through each of the events that were generated for this turn, and we're saying, was it this kind of event? Was it this kind of event? Is that the right person to do this for? And then back out to the view for the score. Hopefully. Oh, nope, I broke it. Oh, it's because I'm not including the stuff. View model events for player move and crash event. Oh, it's because there isn't actually a player move event, is there? Right. I guess we have to do that for both. Okay. So, I'm driving, I crash. Or I didn't crash, okay. And there's some interesting behavior there, but I'll come back to it. Ah, but I crashed here, so it counts that. So you do get some weird corner clipping behavior. But that otherwise achieves our goal pretty well. You can at least track your successes and failures. I think it's also slightly more lenient at low speeds for maneuverability's sake. But, yeah. Nice. Analytics for fun. Hooray. Oh. Okay. Just thinking about what I want to add to make this a polished looking game now, because we're sort of coming into that final stretch where there's only so much I can really get done to make this look good. So I want it to have some cool intro countdown thing, even though there's not quite that Mario Kart jump start that you can get. Although maybe there could be. I thought it'd be good to have like a 3, 2, 1, go, and then it let you start taking your first move. Alright, so this jam ends at the end of the month. So if it's the 23rd today, I've got another 7 days, so I'll finish on Wednesday. I think I started a day... No, I started on time. I was meant to start a day early, but I ended up not doing that. So in theory, 7 days. The actual jam is quite casual, so if I keep working on it afterwards, no one will really mind. But it would still be nice to get something concrete completed, just for my own pride. Yeah. So I've got the various animation classes over here. Start animation. Canvas, rect fill. we want to be at? Oh, that's cool. I've not managed to make my way to a global game jam at the moment. It takes place locally in a sort of closed game development hub that you kind of need to pay and be professional for, and I'm not any of those things. So it just doesn't feel as inviting to attend, and I can't do it at home, so I haven't. But it'd always be quite fun to do, I thought. Okay, so canvas.height 02. It's probably not even that though. It's like so it takes place in our local like game hub incubator place, and it's not clear when I look at their website if they open it up to the public. So I don't know if I'm allowed to actually go in there and develop stuff, or if you have to be one of the people in that I don't know what to call it, society, group, whatever. So, yeah. I've left it alone. I've got enough jams and other things to be doing. Let's make that 16. Need to not mess that up though. That is 0 along. And then it's canvas.width wide. And it's 32. Well, height is 32. The height here is that. Yeah, I live in a fairly major city, so it might be considered crowded. Yeah, fair enough. So I'm in England. I'm in the south of England. And who knows, to be honest. It's one of those things that I'm probably worrying about it more than I should. Let's say that it's 3 seconds long. That we sit here while it does that. And we do canvas.print t divided by 60 seal. Oh, cool. Yeah, Cornwall is probably a couple hours away still, but I'm in that sort of region. I'm considered the southwest for where we are. I'm being intentionally vague, but I suppose that I'm not too vague about it elsewhere in my social media, so it's probably obvious, but so what I want here is to go for canvas.width over 2 minus 4, and then mid minus 4, and then color.white. Animations. Start animation.begin. That didn't do what I wanted it to do. I have to go check something real quick because I can't remember how I did this in my previous game using this sort of engine. This engine is built on top of a roguelike engine. Because it's turn-based and it's the easiest way of getting this stuff started. But yeah. The UK is alright. It could be better. I'm happier here than I would be, I think, if I was in America. But yeah, that's true. Everyone thinks their own place is fine, I guess. Ah, that's what I'm missing. Basically, I need to make this calculation up here rather than down here. Although you might still want it down here too for other... Yeah, you want it in both, okay. Ding. That's counting the wrong way, but we're getting closer, Who wants to bet that dark green isn't a colour in Dome? This is what we have documentation for. Oh, I got it. Yeah. That's what I would have called that colour. In which case that should be floor. Two, one, go, I guess. Really, that should be 4. So what I want here is for this to appear for the first 3 seconds and then have a second or so with it saying like go or something. That means then I have to change that to be 8 because it's going to be 2 characters wide. Two, 1, go. Nah. That is a thing that you could do. I suppose so. It, I think I'm okay. Oh no, that's not what I want. How about that? 3, 2, 1, go. And then you get to do the stuff that you get to do. That's better. I had a similar thing. I mean, it is sort of becoming a bit of a motif, but I have something similar in the previous roguelike where it had that sort of popped up image for UI and then it would fade out. But it's rudimentary that it works, I guess. Although maybe it should be a different color, and that should be the finish line animation, which I can probably also do first. I'm doing the same thing I did last time. I had these two together, two very similar looking designs, and then ended up merging it into a generic one. So I guess you just say finished. Like that. Check out the shortest race ever. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, that's interesting though, because you want to add them in the other order. I think I have a dark red. I do not. We can use like orange. Orange will work, I think. And then that should be black. Oh no, the built-in palette for Dome is actually the Pico 8 palette, with a couple of additions. Because I like having access to them all. It's just that I had to give them names. Just genericizing some stuff here real quick because I want to be able to change up this stuff conditionally. So here the text is think it's like gonna break, but 2, 1, green, and go. Okay, that's what I wanted. Because okay, so to get really the effect that I'm going for here, orange. Could do that. Do that. That. At the moment, anytime you cross the line, it triggers. And the reason for that is that I don't have a way of ending the screen, ending the game yet. So it just the assumption would be that you cross a line and you're done. It's just that's how I've built the level right now. So I'm hoping this does traffic lights. Yeah. Well, it's going to be a single lap. The idea being that it's a single lap and then it just counts your score, I guess, and you can play again or move on to the next level, hopefully. I need to make some actual tracks for this as well. And preferably some art, but it's not probably going to happen. So my assumption is that you'd cross the line, it would give you the leaderboard screen and say, congratulations, you placed whatever, you did it in this many things, you did it like this, you earned some money. Because I wanted to have like a parts type thing going on where you can upgrade your vehicle, but we're not quite there. Maybe in the future I can get to that. Yeah, exactly. I wanted there to be like better handling, better top speed type stuff. Because the theme of the game is that these are meant to be illegal street races, so you kind of would have this pride over your vehicle and the wanting to make it faster, better, more personalized in some way. So maybe you'd pick a... well, hell yeah. It's more that I start with the grand vision and rein it in, then build out, usually. So, I mean, you can see what I was sort of considering on my list here. I always make a list and then I move the MVP around to say these are the things I'm actually going to do, and then here's the stuff I could have done if I have time. Because I often have a pretty cool vision for a game before I can actually make it happen. So I don't consider it creep because I start with that idea and then come backwards. But yeah. What I want to do real quick is animations. Oh, I think I know what the problem is actually. Start animation. Oh, see you in a bit. No, that's not the problem. I don't know. What's up with that? actually test what I wanted it to test at all. So we want to go here. What's happening now? Sometimes the whole machine, the whole application seems to lock up like this, and I can't tell what's causing it. Is it like an input processing thing? Or is it a MacBook being terrible thing? Right, so that was interesting. It definitely should process the movement before the finish. So, move in, captions. It adds the finish event, adds the other one. Oh, it's because it does multiple animations at once. Do I want that behavior? Do I want to do it? Maybe what I need is a like a blocking option, so that you can choose whether this should be in front of everything else. I suppose I could make it a property. Like that. Animation. Because then we can say that the finish, that the camera even, I want to get rid of that again. Two, one, go. That seems to move really differently now. I mean, that's too slow, but it's interesting. So when you get, should that be based on the distance, perhaps? The faster you move, the faster it will look like you're moving, which is actually pretty good. So I think we'll try that and see how it goes. it looks weird because it doesn't actually lerp the player as well as the camera. So I don't know if I can really do that. It's because this was built for a roguelike engine where you didn't animate movement, so the lerping is a bit odd. I mean, you kind of could. I mean, we'll see how it looks, and then go from there. This could look all kinds of strange, just because the way that the rendering works for this is a little bit odd, but oh, the weird bit though is that I actually have to do view.render.layout.pixel2x. That. This could look really strange. Or break. I guess we don't have a view in here. That would be odd. Oh, that would be cool, but I wouldn't know how to implement that at all. Oh, I misspelled that. Okay, so that looks like it might work. I just need to remove the previous one. This is a hack for testing. Oh, almost. Okay. So the thing here is many problems. There's like this weird cyclic dependency going on between the camera position and where you can render stuff. But as you move the camera, where you render stuff changes. So maybe just don't move the... Okay, let's try that. What if I just don't move the player for a bit? Because I'm basically not using the previous position of the player for this animation at all, which is a bit awkward. Hey, welcome back. No, the other way around. Okay. It's a start. We're experimenting. I'm doing some weird stuff here because I'm mixing the pixel and hex positions of things, which makes manipulating this a little bit tricky. I think I do want to, like, lerp it. Because at the moment what's happening is that it stays fixed to where it was until the whole animation has finished moving, and then it pops forward. So you want it to move a little bit with the camera. That doesn't work that way, but I need the whole event. Distance between the... I basically need to know how long is it between the two and lerp that. But I also need the... I don't think I have like a unit type thing going on, do I? It is, but that's not. Hang on, I may have complicating this a bit. I suppose it's because the hexagon stuff doesn't draw in pixel space, it draws in hexagon space, that I'm having some weirdness go on. So it guess I'm doing the same thing there as I am here in some of these. Sorry, my brain is shutting down. This is, I went through several iterations to get the camera to work at all, so I'm basically doing all of that the second time round. Right. Do I have something? Yeah, I remember to sleep. I just want to get this done. I need to do this one more thing. There are times where you really have to finish the thing you're doing, otherwise you lose it all, and this is one of those things. So. What do I want to do? Yeah, because all of the hex fill is based on the idea that you have a hex you want to draw specifically on the map. It's not meant for arbitrary ones. But I guess you could calculate an arbitrary one based on what the camera position is, so... like that, and then you could just see what... I suppose we can see what happens. It might work, it might not. At this point, I get very trial and error-y while I do this stuff, because it really does hurt my brain. Oh yeah, we don't have a view. Why doesn't that pass the view over? I should really change that. Okay, so that just doesn't draw it at all now. Oh. No, that's right. Maybe they need to be the other way around? No. Oh, hold on a moment though. Hold the phone. Are we prepared for this? We might actually... Yeah. How did I forget that? There's an actual... I have an actual hex lerping thing. Just sidestep all the problems I was imagining in my head. Okay, if we drop the lerp speed for a bit, just to have a look at what's going on. No, it's clearly just drawing the whole, like the calculated position for the calculated position for this player sprite is clearly off screen for whatever reason. So let's go have a quick look at position. $255 by... Oh, hold on though, that's not even changing, is it? You'd expect that to change. Oh, I am an idiot. Wait, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm fine. I'm not an idiot. I'm just not. Sorry, I thought for a moment that I just wasn't drawing it at all, but that's what the hex fill call here actually does. It does that. So, come on, I can do this. So, does the position stuff actually change? Yes, you're right. That's yeah, you're right. That probably should do that. I got confused with the one up above. That's that's interest. I mean, that works. That's what you want to happen. It just shows a shortcoming in how I draw hexagons. No, that's exactly what it's doing. The way that hexagons have to be drawn at the moment, in this case, is that it's drawing them line by line. So it has to deduce which parts of the line are within the hexagon and then not draw the rest of it. But because we're moving the camera around, it messes up the boundaries of what it should and shouldn't be drawing. So it's drawing a square and clipping it, basically. Oh, okay. So there. Not this one. Thank you for your help there. I probably would have been going around in circles. That's fine. Yeah, because what it does is it basically says, get me the precise hexagon that this is drawing in and compare this pixel position rounded to that. If they're the same, I'm in that hexagon, so it's okay to draw here. But that doesn't work if you move things off. So I guess we have to go for the sprite. Well, maybe not. I mean, that's the end goal, is to have a sprite here instead. But yeah, rasterizing a hexagon is not my idea of fun, though. Can I kind of just pretend that it's... Yeah, it is time to do that, I think. I think I've actually got a sprite as well. Almost. It's only temporary anyway. No, it's not rendering order. At least I don't think it's rendering order. It's literally just that I'm trying to rasterize something on a grid that's not at integer points. So it breaks the rasterizing system. Because I was lazy. I'm usually pretty careful with rendering order stuff, so it's not normally a problem. I don't know if this is going to work though. Like that. Sorry, I'm sort of focusing down slightly. Let's see how this works. There we go. That's what we wanted. I just need to change how that draws everywhere else, but yeah. Draw a player. Don't need the view, I've already got it. Ding. Apart from the fact that it does that. Oh, shush you. I don't think I can really make them independent like that. I could, maybe. How would I do that? Let's... Sure. I think that I accidentally got this kind of working. What do you think? That suddenly feels really fast, doesn't it? No, I think I'm pretty sure that it's doing it the right way around, but we can experiment. Okay, all right. I was gonna change it then, which would have been a bit odd. I mean, does that look okay? Does that seem like a sort of reasonable speed for things? And I mean, I don't know how the speed comes through on there. Yeah, it's not doing the acceleration type stuff, so could do something different about that, but I can't be bothered. This hurts my brain enough as it is. I think I'm good. I'm gonna leave it for now. Yeah. There is a slight bug I want to correct as well, but it might have to wait until later. So the thing that's bugging me is that animations.count is this. So at the moment, if there are any of these animations, which are basically layered UI effects, in the queue, then we don't draw the player. Which is fine if that animation is drawing the player for us, but in every other situation, it's not so good. Animation, stop. I guess that would be a bit too much. No, it doesn't work. Okay. Way around. It's also because it crossing the line at least blocks out stuff. But in theory, if you crash here, you don't lose the player anymore, which is what was happening before with that implementation. Really, the crashing would have some explosions and stuff, but I'm not going to do that now. Okay. Yeah, because I've done the okay, so if I wanted to do like a sine wave type acceleration and deceleration for stuff, would I have to lerp them independently? Because at the moment I'm cheating a bit. I've got the lerp that I use for moving the camera and I'm just doubling it for the player position. You know, I could. I actually have code for doing camera shake. It was very important to me that Dome could support a Vlambeer style camera shake, so it's doable. To be honest, I don't even know why I'm panning the camera around now I think about it. I have a whole API for that as well. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Having something else to handle the tweening for you, I end up recreating a lot of this stuff. But I just don't know how I would handle moving the two independently. I guess you'd need... Well, I guess you base time on the alpha, so you say that the alpha is... actually equal to t multiplied by that here, and t. Oh, sorry, I forgot about your GIF. Let's have a look. Oh, that is nice. Yeah, that is quite a good way of doing it. No, bravo. Oh, I see, because you want the camera to be constantly following the player's current position on screen, not the position that the thing is necessarily moving to. The problem with that is just you need like some epsilon or something that says I am close enough to the player, snap to them or something. But yeah. I don't have the brain power to figure that out right now. I'm going to leave it as is. It's basically fine. I probably broke the... Yeah, I broke that. Okay, let me just go fix that one. Although why that broke it, I'm not sure. Unless... that's why. You do have to call the super here, otherwise you lose those benefits, I guess. Because then at least alpha is time-based. Although I probably don't actually want to do that. So the problem with that is I actually need the... that would need to be player pause. Source, and then we use the player pause there. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. That's more efficient at least, because I don't have to recalculate it for every draw step. Pause. This could go horribly wrong. So prepare for some crashes, I guess. Oh, that's interesting. Ah. That would be a thing, yeah. Hey, I have crashed Dome occasionally doing things like this, so that's not strictly true, but there are certain things that if you're not careful, they just explode on you and go sideways and lock up all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna undo that. That was sad of me to do. Split that. Keep that one. Split. Keep that one. Don't keep that one. Keep that one. Keep that one. Commit -n. Better animated. Yeah, I'm about to stop as well. Thank you so much for coming by more. I might be saying that, probably saying that wrong. More, yeah. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Seeing me mess about with all sorts of stuff today. We actually got quite a lot more done than I planned to do. So having you here was really great. I should be streaming again next Monday, but not sure right now how that's going to go. So let's just review where we are. We got the starting screen, we got the movement that is slick enough to work, at least for now. I don't know, it feels good enough to be like a racing vehicle to me. Probably. I probably need to calculate the movement event stuff a bit better for crashes, but we'll come back to that. Great, thank you so much everybody for stopping by. See you next week and have a good one.